Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video, and today we're going to take a look at Cooler, right? Now, usually I don't often do this, where I'll basically just do like a random rainbow video on a unit like this Cooler or anything like that, right? But today I want to. Now, the reason for this is that Kefla has come out on JP Dokkan, and she does, at her best, seem better to me than Cooler. Now, people don't really like that. I mean, Cooler is definitely going to be one of these units that people are just really going to struggle accepting a unit being better than him until it's just like, you know, like a new TUR Vegito who's just like undisputedly the king or something like that, right? Is what it's going to take. Because Cooler, the thing about him is that he is just so versatile, right? You could use him in so many different situations. He can help you everywhere because in his base form, he lowers attack. He's a support type unit. You know, when he transforms, he has guaranteed crits, additionals. A lot of the things that make Kefla great, Cooler does as well, right? Like, the thing is, both Kefla and Cooler, at their best, so like Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, can do 3 super attacks while being super effective against all types. Cooler can do 3 super attacks while doing guaranteed crits. So, like, they are very, very similar. Now, from what I've seen, it seems like I think Kefla is going to be a bit better at her best. One of the big reasons is because Kefla has a 50% chance to dodge, unconditional at Super Saiyan 2, whereas Cooler is only relying upon his defense. Now, I do think with Big Bad Bosses active in his transformed state, Cooler can get a higher defensive stat than Kefla, but Cooler doesn't have the dodge, and I think that's kind of going to be the big equalizer. I think Kefla hits harder too, but let's make sure that that's the case, right? So, right away, we're linked up here with Physical Cooler, right? Now, I think Physical Cooler here, let me just double check this before we start this turn, but I believe Physical Cooler has almost the entire same link set. Strongest Command in Space, Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses. Okay, Physical Cooler has Shocking Speed instead of Brutal Beatdown, but besides that, they're exactly the same. So they're getting, let's see, 2 key, 15% attack, 15% attack, 5 HP, 5% HP regeneration, and another 15% attack. Then they could do Big Bad Bosses with 25% attack and defense if we would take damage. But, I mean, unless we're going into the Legendary Goku event, we're probably not going to take damage with this team. If we're comparing the two teams of Kefla and Cooler, I mean, I feel like Kefla's Universe 6 team is absolutely just, like Universe 6 is way better than people give it credit for, but, like, there's just no way I can say something is going to be better than Transformation Boost unless it's like Realm of Gods. Because, like, Transformation Boost, like, Universe 6, how much more is going to get added to it, right? Maybe a little bit, probably not too much. I mean, Transformation Boost, the sky is the limit. Every good unit moving forward is going to be on the category, basically, right? So, like, Cooler definitely takes the W there. And then that's another reason why Cooler will always be relevant, too. Don't forget that Cooler's buffing this physical final form Cooler right here. So he's over a 2 million attack set, which is very good without Big Bad Bosses, thanks in large part to STR Cooler, not only giving him a support type ability, but he's giving Physical Cooler, what? 45% attack from links, which is an awful lot. That's one of those things about these Frieza family units, is that they get so much attack from links. It's just it's just very, very gargantuan. And that's why, like, especially using a lot of these Frieza clan units together, they're just so crazy. And this free-to-play EZA Frieza, by the way, you're going up against a Goku family enemy, that in Frieza demolishes whatever is in front of him. Now, I did also pick the future Gohan boss for 2 reasons. One, because he's Goku family, so he'll activate that Frieza's ability. That Frieza is a support type unit, damage reduction, guard, he's crazy, right? And then this would allow us to do this, which is transform right away, turn 3. Now, if we're comparing Cooler and Kefla, which is the point of this video, sort of, but I want to, like, sort of maximize Cooler, right? A team built around Cooler. Cooler transforms turn 3 against Pure and Hybrid Saiyans, and then he's done. He's at final form. Kefla, it takes until turn 5 before she's done. But keep in mind, Kefla's usual highest attack stats you'll get are when she's in her Super Saiyan version, because she gets, like, basically more attack there, but then at Super Saiyan 2, she double supers. So she is doing more overall damage at Super Saiyan 2, but her higher attack stat would be at Super Saiyan 1, typically. But she does stack attack the whole way through. Cooler stacks attack once he gets to this form. So what is his defense at? 125k. Now, I actually want to put STR Cooler in the middle because Turles has Brutal Beatdown. So now Cooler's entire Link set is active. I don't think Physical Cooler, he's at 83k defense. I don't think his defense is low enough for us to activate Big Bad Bosses. But if it does, that would be very interesting to see. So right away, immediately, we have, this is probably one of the better rotations for STR Cooler, right? Because again, we have every single one of his links is active. Because Turles has Brutal Beatdown. So, yeah, this Cooler's at 1.98, which is a lot. He shouldn't finish Future Gohan off, though, I don't think. Unless he triple supers, which he didn't. Okay, good. Don't give me a... Okay, well... Don't crit, please. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Alright, well, I mean, that's pretty annoying, because I actually really wanted to see that turn right there. So I'm gonna emulate that turn again. Like we're gonna finish up this event, and then we're gonna do that exact turn again. This Cooler, it doesn't really matter what this guy does because he's not the rainbow one. So I'm not even gonna have him transform because I don't. We're comparing Rainbow Cooler to Rainbow Kefla. I'm not gonna have that Cooler transform and then we start seeing lower numbers than we want. So I want to be completely fair to Cooler. Like I don't really care if Cooler's better than Kefla because regardless they're the top two, right? Like I think there's just no question about that. I think Beerus is probably underrated, but Beerus, it's very easy for him to not look that good, depending upon the situation. We need a better... Are you kidding? Oh, the additionals are crazy today, but we need a better physical type unit who can really mesh well with Beerus to make him better in, like, Battlefield and Super Battle Road and EZA and those places. Like, I feel like Beerus is pretty weak in those areas. In, like, the long events, Dokkan events, those two spots, Beerus is crazy. Okay, I'm going to come back. Same turn. Cooler, Turles, and it's Cooler's first turn transforming. We'll be right back. Oh, man, do I freaking hate Turles, man. Let me tell y'all, do I hate him so much, man. Jeez. Thank you, Turles, so much. So, Turles wanted to be just a very kind friend to me. And transform. It's fine. We're gonna get one more turn in because... next turn, we'll get Physical Kid Buu, who will give a better buff anyway. Because Physical Kid Buu gives 50%, plus he has Brutal Beatdown, whereas Turles gives 40%, but he's got Brutal Beatdown. But, I mean, what a bastard Turles is, man. Seriously. Like, he's been doing that so much to me lately. Like, I can't... Ugh, I cannot wait until Turles is replaced. Please. I mean, he'll never be replaced. Like, he's never going to be replaced, but God, is that annoying. Oh, if Turles was an active skill transformation, oh, would that be so good. Oh, man, would Turles be 2.91? Well, there's no support, but I mean, it's just because I'm comparing it to Kefla's like 4 million plus. But then again, that is a guaranteed. Okay, hold on. All right, so Kefla at Super Saiyan. I mean, there was no... Well, hold on. There was no support right there, right? Like, Kefla, I'm used to seeing her above 4 million, but that's with support, right? Because Kefla, because she gets her attack buff on Super Attack, she, like, needs support in order to be, like, at that... She doesn't need it, but, like, it just, like, quadruples her attack power, whatever it does. Like, it just sends her through the moon, right? So, like, that's a big thing with Kefla, right? So, Cooler was only at 2.91 right there. But that was without support. I mean, I'm not going to call Physical Final Form Cooler a support unit, even though he is giving the other Cooler 45% attack from links. I mean, that's just links. That's just part of the unit, right? Are you kidding me? Now we're going to fall below 80%? No, because we're going to have Metamorph... Oh, my... It's just one of them days where this shit is just real agitating, huh? Yep, it's gonna be one of them days. Alright, so here's Kid Buu. He's at 30% rather than his 50%. Very annoying. I'm actually very, 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 very annoyed at that. I guess it's not a big deal. Because we'll just get a better turn anyway coming up of Kid Buu, Cooler, and then Cooler linked with himself. Now... Cooler linked with himself is... Because I did say Kefla at her best was better than Cooler at his best. And even though running Cooler with himself, you can do it. I mean, for difficult events, it's not practical. I mean, it is for Dokkan events, though. Like, and it's just, because, again, Cooler, okay, 3.39 is actually far better. And he is doing guaranteed crits. Like, that's the other point I was going to make, is that before, like, Cooler did 2.91, but it was a guaranteed crit as well, right? So it's actually going to be, like, way, like, the actual attack stat, if we factor in the guaranteed crit, is, like, way better than the 2.91 that he put up, right? It definitely would have been above, like, a 4 million attack stat or something like that. Because, like, the ignoring defense and all that shit that it does is very good. All right, I'm going to use a King Yama right here. So I don't have to worry. The reason I brought, like, these units that I don't have rainbowed and stuff like that was just so we'd go through the event a bit slower. Because when I run these full rainbow teams, like, these bosses aren't strong enough to survive, like, even one phase against my teams anymore. Like, they go down like bitches. Like, it's insane. All of these bosses are weak. They're all mentally weak, too. They very clearly feel fear when they encounter Blue Gogeta, Blue Vegito, Cooler, Kefla. I mean, what a shock, right? They're encountering fear at that point. All right, so this will be good, right? Okay, so now we have Cooler linked with himself, which activates every single link. Like, again, Cooler's links do not change when he transforms. So himself, he's giving himself 7 out of 7, right? The other thing is that, remember that non-transformed Cooler also has a 30% attack buff that he's giving to Cooler. Now, you do get a 50% buff from Terrifying Conquerors, but, like, it's not, it's so rare you're fighting multiple enemies. I mean, that is good for Super Battle Road. I mean, I guess in Transformation Boost Super Battle Road, you could actually run the two, like, so there's that Ultimate Gohan boss in the final fight of Transformation Boost, and I would say it's a very legitimate strategy to run the two Coolers together, one transformed, one not, because the non-transformed version does lower attack, which is incredibly useful against that Ultimate Gohan, whereas this Cooler is just going to be very, very strong. I'm going to play Kid Buu first, and hopefully Kid Buu will take a lot of damage, and that would activate Big Bad Bosses for us. Because remember, like, on top of what we're about to see right here, Cooler can go even higher with Big Bad Bosses, and he does stack his attack as well. Now, in these videos with Kefla, I haven't gone out of my way to stack her attack, right? Because, like, that's the point. Like, I'm comparing Cooler definitively to Kefla. So I'm not going to go out of my way to stack Cooler's attack since I didn't do it with Kefla. But keep in mind that Cooler doesn't really have, like, a max attack stat, right? Because he does stack once he transforms the same way Kefla does. Now, Cooler, with his guaranteed crits... Okay, so no super attack. What are we getting? Okay, 4 mil. That's... now, Super Saiyan 2 Kefla is right around there. But she does a second guaranteed super attack no matter what. Whereas Cooler, his second attack... I mean, we haven't even seen a second attack from him because he's just instantly killing everything. But his second attack has a... Oh, it has a 25... I thought it was a 30% for Cooler's second attack. Who has 30... Some unit has 30%, and it always messes me up. I always think, like, whenever it says medium chance, I always think 30 because there's some unit that has a 30% to super, but Cooler is 25%. I mean, 25% is still actually very good, right? Because, like, Physical Final Form Cooler has, like, a 10% chance to super from his, and same with, like, Physical Omega. So, like, STR Cooler being at 25%, that's a 1 in 4 chance. That's not bad, right? It could be way worse than that. But his has that chance, whereas Kefla at Super Saiyan 2 is... I mean, it's guaranteed, but you do have to get 6 orbs, right? But, so, I don't know. The thing, too, to compare with Cooler, it's hard, because Cooler, right, you could link him up with himself, who is his best friend. Kefla has Kabe. But the thing about Kabe is much better defensively than this Cooler right here. It's not even close. Kabe shits on this guy defensively, easily. Like, Kabe is a great defensive unit. Now, this Cooler is going to provide more damage. Well, I don't know. That's probably not even true either. I mean... It depends. Like this guy with Big Bad Bosses and his full link set active is going to hit harder than Kabe, but I don't know, because Kabe's giving 50% to Kefla. It's hard to say. They're relative, I guess, but Cooler's better for sure, right? But the point is that Kabe's so good, you want to run him in rotation anyway. It doesn't hurt you that you're running, like, Kabe, a 50% support type unit for STR on rotation, because he's so good offensively, defensively, and he's creating orbs for Kefla, and Kefla is so good while she's, like, transformed and stuff like that, and when she gets 6 orbs. But the thing is, Like, it's like, that's just, like, part of the, like, the natural team you would build would have Kabe on it, right? The 50% support. Now, someone specifically said, one reason I did this Rainbow video is because they said it's not fair to Cooler, because when Cooler came out, his 50% support was not out. Yeah, that's true, except for the fact that Hit doesn't, like, he's not really on a bunch of teams with Cooler. That's the problem. Hit is only on target Goku, right? On target Goku, you can't use 2 Coolers, right? So you can't have Cooler linked up with himself. You could use Final Form Cooler over there. Does Hit have Brutal Beatdown? Actually, let me double check that. I actually don't know if Hit has Brutal Beatdown or not. He does not. So, like, Hit would give Cooler 50%, but it's not the same thing for a number of reasons, like Hit being as good as Kabe, because number one, Cooler doesn't get his attack on super attack, so he's not getting as big of a buff from Hit or other support type units. 2, Cooler doesn't need orbs the way Kefla does, right? So, like, at Hit creating orbs, like, it's not even that big of a deal. Like, Kabe is, like, completely covers every check mark that Kefla needs, except Kabe has Shattering Limit instead of Fierce Battle. If Kabe had Fierce Battle, like, it's a wrap. It's GG. Like, it's just unbelievable. Now, that is one thing you definitely could say is an advantage for Cooler, by the way. When he transforms, he does give himself 3 ki at the start of turn. So ki is, like, never, ever going to be an issue for this guy. I don't know if that I've ever missed a super attack with STR Final Form Cooler ever. Like, it just, it doesn't happen. He always super attacks, right? Whereas Kefla, I mean, her link set is not great, right? She doesn't have one of the big, like, hero class links. She doesn't have Over in a Flash, Prepared for Battle, or Shocking Speed. She does have Tournament Power, which a lot of her teams do have very top tier Tournament Power units like LR Kale and Caulifla. Kabe's got it. Evolution Blue Vegeta has it. UI Goku's have got it, right? So it's not that bad, but not having Prepare for Battle is annoying for sure, because Prepare for Battle would be good on Kefla. Whereas Cooler, again, doesn't really have that issue, and he doesn't need orbs, whereas Kefla does. Now, keep in mind that Kefla, most of what she can do against every enemy in the game. Now, being super effective against all types, she can only do that against Pure Saiyans. And then there's also Universal Survival Saga enemies. She gets that super effective against all types for 1 turn, right? Whereas Cooler, like, against a Pure or Hybrid Saiyan, he transforms turn 3 and he's doing guaranteed crits and all that. But if you're not fighting a Pure or Hybrid Saiyan, obviously Cooler is going to be far less impressive. Because then at that point, you can't transform with him until turn 6, which is quite a long time. You know, it's funny, we called Bardock the best transformation condition in the game, but I almost feel like I kind of want to give that to Cooler instead, don't I? Like, because it's just, again, like, Pure and Hybrid Saiyans are just like, it's almost every single fight is against a Pure Hybrid Saiyan. Like seriously, like, even Explosive Chain Battle, both bosses so far have been Pure Saiyans, right? Like, you just go on and on and on. That, like, even though Cooler is restricted, it's, like, barely even a restriction, right? Because it's, like, legitimately, like, every enemy is practically a Pure Hybrid Saiyan. Like, I could think in Extreme Super Battle World, there is the one fight where you fight, like, Piccolo and Gotenks. Well, no, Gotenks is a Hybrid Saiyan. Yeah, so that doesn't count. I mean, there's the one fight where you fight the Earthlings. You fight, what is it, Yamcha, Krillin, Tien, and Chaozu. I mean, I guess Cooler technically couldn't transform there, but, like, that's, like, legitimately the only fight in Extreme Super Battle World where Cooler can't transform on turn 3, right? It's just so easy to do, so common to do. Ah, man, you know, after doing this, I am really, really strongly leaning towards Cooler being better again. Let me, we're not done yet. Let's keep going. But again, after seeing the numbers he put up, like, I am leaning back more towards Cooler, because he does have that restriction that Kefla is. I feel like it's just easier for Kefla to, like, get to that Super Saiyan 2 and kind of be able to bust it out, right? Whereas Cooler, you know, the Pure and Hybrid Saiyans, sometimes you're not going to encounter them, but it's just so often that I don't really think it's even that big of a deal. And, like, even when he doesn't transform, I mean, he still is really good. Lowering attack, being a support type unit, stuff like that. So, all right, let's go to another team. All right, guys, so this is something I did want to show off as well, which, I mean, the Last Resort team is, you know, it's interesting, especially if you're running Vegito as leader. I mean, really, when I run Last Resort, again, I like to run double Vegito as leader just because then you put Supremo Pie of Time on the team. And then, like, so, like, this build we can do right here. We could do Supremo Pie of Time as a floater, Cooler as a floater, And then we have Turles as a floater. And then, you know, one of the rotations could be Kefla and Vegito, and then the other rotation could be Gogeta and Vegito. And then this is just like, this is a buzzsaw, is basically what I would call this. Like, there's no Dokkan event that could survive 2 seconds in front of this team right here. It's just, it's unbelievable, right? Now, Cooler, again, I mainly wanted to do this portion to highlight Cooler's support type abilities, and it's like, this is what makes Cooler a bit different from a unit like Beerus or even Kefla, right? Is like, Kefla is there to do a lot of damage and then also to dodge, right? Like, those are sort of the two things Kefla does. Like, Cooler, you know, we already established, could do guaranteed crits, he could do additionals, he does all these things. He's very, very good. But Kefla, or excuse me, wait, what? I just got confused. But my point was that Cooler doing this support thing he does is not something that, like, Kefla can claim. Like, that's just completely a W for Cooler, right? That is 6. Okay, I don't know what it is, but, like, literally like, with Kefla, I am constantly getting 6 orbs. Like, I have no, like, we don't even have orb changers here, and I'm just getting 6 orbs, like, every single time, so. This is Kefla. She has Power Bestowed by God from Vegito, so Vegito and Kefla would work really good, because they've got Fierce Battle, Fuse Fighter, Power Bestowed by God, and Super Saiyan, but obviously Vegito hasn't transformed yet, so we don't have Super Saiyan. Honestly, I think Kefla's just going to instantly annihilate this boss Kefla in one shot, but let's see. Yeah, 3.31. That's very good. And she does, of course, have the 50% chance to dodge as well. See, that's the thing. Like Cooler, you know, we saw Cooler at, well, basically a very, very similar number, right? Except that similar number, like the same sort of situation for Cooler there. He did the 2.91, except Cooler also had additionals at that point. Remember that Kefla does not get the guaranteed additional until she's Super Saiyan 2 on turn 5. So, like, if you're going up against a pure Hybrid Saiyan, then a bit earlier, you are going to get the greatness out of Cooler, right? The additionals. Because, like, that's what... I made this point before, but units that do additionals are really just incomparable to... The only unit that I consider, like, super top tier, like, in the highest class, that doesn't basically do guaranteed additionals is LR UI Goku. Like LR killing Caulifla, Gohan and Goten, the Blue Fusions, Cooler, Kefla. Like, you go through, like, all these mega top tier units all have additionals built into them. I guess the other one would be LR Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku is another one, and probably LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku as well. None of them do additionals, and I consider them, like, the best of the best. I mean, I guess Goku and Frieza as well, but, you know, most of the top units, additionals is just such an equalizer. So, look at this. This is why Cooler can really be sort of counted as a step above. I mean, Kefla does obviously work really well with Gogeta and Vegito, especially Vegito, because they've got Power Bestowed by God. But, you know, Kefla has Fuse Fighter. She's a fusion, so she'll work good with Gogeta and Vegito the same way as some of these other guys will. But, like, Cooler, like, that, it's just so insane. Like, they made it to where Cooler is, like, one of the best friends of, like, the fusions. Like, he's got Fierce Battle with them, and then he's giving them the support ability and Ki. Like, it's just so weird. Like, you could run, Cooler, there's no way in a million years you'd expect Cooler to work great with the Blue Fusions, but he does. Now, I don't have the Blue Fusions as the best unit in the game right now. I do think it's LRUI, just his overall value across every event in the game. But, like, you could easily say that Blue Fusions are #1. And then by saying that Cooler is, like, one of their best friends, that automatically makes Cooler a step above. Like, it makes him more valuable. He's even better because of how good he is with what you could say is the best units in the game. Now, no matter what, I do think Gogeta and Vegito are tied. I feel like Gogeta, a lot of the times, ends up looking a little bit better. But I do kind of just, like, have them completely tied. Because, like, Vegito in long events will start to pull away from Gogeta a little bit. But, I mean, you know, again, that's long events. Who do we want to I guess we'll just have Gogeta finish this off, because we're going to have Blue Vegito on the other turn. Now, obviously, I mean, Kefla has no shot of survival here, right? Like, this is just an instant one-shot. Like, I don't know. I think I probably will say Cooler is better. And again, it's the support that he does. That's why. Like that's what's going to push him ahead for me. So there's Gogeta, 3.1 million. He's super effective against all types right here, by the way. Then he has a guaranteed additional, which, again, is super effective against all types, which did a lot of damage. And then he did not, but he could have done another attack. And then Vegito Blue here is going to double super, so Kefla's out of here. And keep in mind that the blue fusions do build attack and defense in slot 1 and 2. So this is them at their weakest. They only get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger by quite a bit as the event would continue on, right? Okay, so we saw that rotation, right? Let me just see a quick turn of Kefla right here. And then I might actually just finish up because I feel like I have seen enough. Cooler is just... Again, the one thing you could say is that, like, Cooler could have like fights where it's difficult for him to transform. Like this. This is a fight right here. Kefla. But even still, it's stupid as hell because Kefla should be on pure Saints, right? So, actually, we've hit a turn where she can't get 6 orbs. How about that? And without her getting 6 orbs, we will use her active skill. That makes her super effective against all types. Actually, this is going to create... This will create some orbs, too. It changes physical to STR. I didn't look at the field before I did that. I forgot until I hit her active skill that it does that. Oh, that gives her... Yeah, it does. Okay, well, there we go. Alright, so right here, Kefla is super effective against all types. And she's going to do 2 super attacks. And she has a 50% chance to dodge. So... you know, it's like, even if you want to say Cooler is better, which I definitely think is very fair, I probably would say that myself. I just don't see how any DOKKANFEST TUR, like, Beerus is super good, he hits really hard, but, like, I don't know, he doesn't, it's just, I think about Beerus when he's not at his best, and I get a little bit sad, basically, is what happens. Alright, so let's take a look at what Kefla does right here. 2.7, not the greatest. I mean, Cooler can definitely easily get higher there, but don't forget she has a guaranteed second super attack. So, I mean, she's going to be over 5 million damage in, like, an attack set already, but then she also has that second super. Also, Kefla does stack attack at all 3 phases. She's always stacking attack. I mean, that does emulate how Kale, Khalifa, Kefla, all those characters acted, right? Like, they're just, like, oh, I mean, bad writing. They're just getting stronger for no reason. Like, it's just, it's like... I don't know, like whoever was, like, writing them or whatever, like, it's like they thought of, like, Vegeta on Namek, and then they're like, we're just gonna, like, raise that by, like, 50 million billion. We're just gonna send that through the roof, basically. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, Kefla right there did just a ridiculous amount of damage that Cooler on that turn couldn't do because Kefla is not counted as a pure Saiyan, right? But, like, Cooler against pure... Like, we saw... Against, like, that Vegeta and Gohan, like, Cooler does 1 attack and they instantly die because it's a guaranteed crit. And then, like, he could potentially do, like, multiple more attacks. Like, we know what Cooler is going to look like when he's doing all these additional super attacks, right? So, like, you know, Cooler did, what do you have, like, a 4 million attack stat that one time? Except then he could do a second 4 million attack stat, and then he could do a third 4 million attack stat as well. And they're all guaranteed crits, which... You know, I know super effective against all types is like a 1.5 times multiplier. I would have to find out what, like, a crit counts as. Like how much does the attack stat change? Like, they could calculate, like, what is the actual, like, number? Like, is it 2 times or what when they get a crit? Because if it's 2 times, right, then, like, Cooler would, like, in that situation could have busted out 3 8 million attack stats, essentially. Like, that's why he's so busted, right? And then Cooler, again... What just makes it very... Like, he's going to be so difficult to replace because of his support abilities before he transforms. And he's an active skill transformation. So you can choose how you want to use him, right? So Kefla, we couldn't transform with him. But let's say we were going up against, like, a pure hybrid Saiyan. Cooler could have transformed turn 3. We could have done it. Or I could just keep him in his base form version so that he can continue to be a great support type unit for the fusions, right? So, like, I mean, that team, you know, I don't... Honestly, Turles is a bit weak defensively for my taste. Is there a better, like, option that we could replace Turles with? This is also not the right here. So it's Patara, and then last resort is this one right here. So... Who can we replace Turles with for this team? I don't know. It's probably Turles because you could put God Topo on here, but God Topo has the same... he's very weak defensively. He gets hit very hard. Plus, God Topo does not give Ki. I mean, see, like, AGL Rose would be an interesting option, but he's only a support for Extreme, right? So, there's not really, like, a Turles, Cooler, Supreme Opie of Time option that I could replace Turles with, even as much as I would like to. We could just do like another really powerful like fusion, because the way I ran that team, right, Cooler and Supremo 5 would always be floaters. So like if we put like Blue Gogeta on there as a floater as well, like the rotations are Vegito, Gogeta, Kefla, and Vegito. So this Gogeta would always be getting a lot of links from them anyway. I mean, don't forget that this guy's coming up on an Easy Ace soon. I mean, he's going to be very interesting for some of these teams as well. This is another thing, Blue Fusions. I mean, this team, this like Vegito's team specifically, because you could put Supremo 5 and get like some of these like Goku Black and some of them on here. It's just pretty insane. But like this team is very strong. So I don't know. Oh yeah. I know who we could put on there. Is we can go ahead and put Physical Vegito Blue. I feel like that works pretty well, right? I mean, he's probably better than Kefla, so you would probably just want to run him with this Blue Vegito on one rotation, and then the Blue Vegito and Blue Gogeta on the other rotation is actually probably what you'd do. Then maybe you could just run Kefla as a floater, but Kefla, see, that's the thing. If you're going to use Kefla, you want her on rotation. You want to build the team around her. You want everything running through her, like, you know, Gohan and Goten or something like that. Beerus, it's the same thing. But Cooler doesn't need that to be great. So, yes, at the end of this video, I will put Cooler in the #1 spot again. That support ability, like, the fact that he could do that, it just is going to make him so hard to replace. It's like Kale and Khalifa. Like, when they came out, it's like, how could they possibly replace them? And then they did this shit, which is like, you know, at Blue, right, Vegito could do his active skill in slot 3. So he does the active skill super attack. Then he gets a 50% chance to dodge for the whole turn. And then he could do 3 super attacks. No, excuse me. Then he could do 4 super attacks after that. So active skill, 4 super attacks, and then 50% chance to dodge. Is this Vegito at his best? And like all of those attack stats, by the way, from those super attacks, would be like 7, 8, 6, 9 million plus or something like that. So like, you know, the Blue Fusions at their best are incomparable. So just keep that in mind. But I don't know. Cooler's super good, right? There you go. Listen, relax. Cooler's great. So thanks, guys, for watching. And I'll catch y'all next time.